Look at me.
It's a Geechee dialect.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Don't forget I'm from South Carolina.
That's true. Oh, that's right. That's right. You're going to learn. You'd have to learn Geechee. You'd have to learn some of the island. Geechee is. Oh my goodness, it's not Creole. It's not English. It's not hillbilly. It's kind of a blend.
It's a blend of African, English, mixture.
Okay.
Broken badly.
Yeah. So let's see. We have guests this morning. Our guests are, I just said, Mr. Luke Benjamin, and of course, sitting to my right, extreme right, because he's extreme, Bishop Anthony E. Hamby, and on the line we have my only living twin, my brother from another mother, Brother Dan Vale, who is cruising up the road but you can't even tell, but he's doing a great job. He's minding what he's doing. He's got his mind on his work, and he's not violating any safety laws while he's driving that 53?
53.
Yeah, 53-foot rig with
on the road again.
On the road again. Just what's your gross vehicle weight today? Do you know?
I am.
You don't know.
Heavier than usual.
Okay, never mind.
77,000.
Oh, okay. Well, you're still under the 80, so that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been dieting.
Okay. So, in our last hour, we learned about this great and wonderful place called Nativity Prep. And we had some good conversations about what they're doing, and I love the fact that they're taking the whole person.
Yep.
The child is not just a number. He's not just somebody that's there. He's actually somebody that you care about.
Yep.
And you make it very plain to the child.
Definitely.
So you mentioned standards, and I think in every world there has to be standards. What gets a person into Nativity Prep, and what gets them out? What?
Okay, I love this question actually. So I think there are a couple things that are important for us when we're considering an admissions application. I think the first thing is commitment. I think the family has to be committed. I think so. That means like the mom, the dad, like committed to what Nativity Prep, committed to like, hey, we're going to be asking the parent for a lot because, there's going to be homework, there's going to be activities, there's going to be games. We're a smaller school, so we do ask for parents to volunteer and assist us in certain events that we have. And so there's going to be commitment on the parent side. We also don't offer transportation, so figuring out transportation and things like that and getting your son to school on time. So that is huge for us. So when I'm talking to families, when I'm interviewing families, when I'm asking questions, I'm constantly asking questions so I can get an understanding of how committed and involved this parent is in their child's education. That's one. The second thing is the commitment from the child. I can work with kids that might not have the greatest grades. I can work with students that might not be performing the best in their current school. I can work with that. I'm completely fine with that. But what I cannot work with are students that are not committed to their future and not committed to their work. Those are things that I cannot work with. So when I'm talking to the student, when I'm seeing them in our school, and when I'm seeing them interact with our current students when they're going through their application process, if I recognize or I'm seeing that the kid may not be as committed to their education or might not be as committed to school in general in comparison to our other applicants, that student may be looked at a little bit differently. So I think commitment is super, super important for the school, as well as like effort. I think the families that show that like they want this, they want Nativity Prep, they want this school, I think obviously it helps. There's certain families, it's more so me hounding them down to get their application in because I see the benefits for Nativity for their son versus there's some families that are hounding me to get their families in. Those are very two different scenarios, and I think the families that are hounding me down are going to get that, upper hand versus those other families at the end of the day, because that's very important to me. And then the last thing really is, I think it's what the family wants for the future of their child. I think some families, they're on the side of, I just want my son to see what he wants to do, or I'm not really pushing him to do anything specific. Nativity is a track you're going to be put on because you want to go all the way. You want to go to high school, you want to go to college, you want to graduate from college. So I think that if the understanding that this commitment that you're making to Nativity Prep is about you're furthering your education as far as possible, if that's not all in alignment, I usually don't think Nativity is going to work out for that family. And then you also asked a question on what usually gets students kicked out. I think the biggest thing is behavior. We can work with students that might not have the greatest grades, like I said. We can work with students that, family's life is not as great. We can work with that because we're a loving community. But what we can't work with are students that are bullying others. What we can't work with are students that are rude or mean to others, and what we can't work with are students that are jeopardizing their lives or others' lives. And so we've had situations where students are, verbally abusive to other students or other faculty members, and we've had situations where students are can be physical outside of school or in school. There's no room for any of that. Bullying is another thing. There's no room for any of that. So those are the things that usually get a kid moved on from Nativity. Also, last thing, attendance. Transportation is important. If you miss more than 15 days, usually that means that your student is asked not to come back as well. So
That's fair.
yeah.
I mean, when you refer to the school as a community, it's something that is necessary.
Yeah.
Because it takes a village to raise a child.
100%. 100%.
Education is vital. It's something that you can't be successful in life without it.
Agreed.
Okay, and your investment is, I'm hearing over 100%. Okay. And I'm not trying to use a Trumpian euphemism right now, but it seems like you all are going above and beyond the call of duty, which requires that same commitment from parents,
Exactly.
and from the children.
Exactly.
What's your faculty makeup like?
Well, before you do that, you have
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So what about the student who may have autism and have behavioral problems as well?
So our school, because our school is a bit smaller, we have to be very cautious with the IEPs or 504 plans that we can accept, because we just don't have the resources of a normal public school to be able to serve all those things. So that it's really on a case-by-case basis to see what we can and cannot serve at the school. So we have people that can review and look at the IEPs, and we have partners that will communicate to the connections that we have to see if what we can serve specifically at the school. So for example, let's say your son your son had a specific need that he needed to be served, like a skill that he needed to work on, because we do have students with IEPs at the school, or 504 plans at the school. And so let's say he had a specific skill that he needed to work on. Let's say his skill was reading. So we have people that come to the school. We have tutors that come to the school from 3 to 4:45, and they'll pull the kids and work with them in small groups or one-on-one to make sure that they're getting that additional help that they need. As well as if your son falls below a C grade level, they go to academic support is what we call it, because academics comes first. So that means you miss your athletics, and from 3 to 4:45, you will work with tutors, you'll work with teachers to make sure your grades are going up and you're doing the work to get back on track. So it's really on a case-by-case basis to really answer your question. So we'd have to look at it and see and have our counselors look at it to make sure it's something that we can serve for sure.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah, there was another question you just asked about.
Well, we were talking about the community,
Yes.
and how vitally important that is. I know that English High was established as the first public school in the United States, and for most of its time, it was an all-boys school.
Yeah.
That changed. What benefit do you see out of having a milieu of just boys?
I think we talked about in the last hour how middle school is such a impactful age, and I think, and I acknowledge this too. I think women develop faster than men. So especially in middle school, you have a bunch of young boys that are a little naive, and like they're navigating a weird space for themselves. And then let's not add the fact that the young women in their same age group are a little bit more developed than them. And so these young boys that are young, already susceptible to trouble, are with young women, and they're getting themselves in even more trouble, and so I think what the middle school provides, all boys middle school provides the young men, is a place where they can be themselves, and they can only worry about like Luke's development. Like, hey, I'm worried about like getting my reading right, or I'm worried about getting my math right, or I'm really focused on basketball right now, or whatever the case may be. And the boys don't have to focus on anything else. And I think, especially in middle school, they're not at the copying age yet. When you get to high school, you start copying other people. You're like, oh, I want to be like this guy, or I want to be like that guy. Whilst in middle school, you're still creating your own identity, your own unique identity. And I think that this space allows the boys to really flex that as much as possible. And then they can bounce ideas off each other and be those geeks that we talked about as freely as they want. So that they can, really dig themselves into whatever that they may enjoy. And I think that's really important for young men. We want them to grow unapologetically, so that when they're ready for the next step, they're confident in their identity, they're confident in themselves, and they're ready to go for whatever's next.
Okay, so now this raises and I got to figure out how to do this very politely and very politically correctly, because we have the second best engineer sitting on the board, and I don't want my mic to get muted. So how do you handle, when you talked about identity and coming to be who they are and understanding who they are?
Yep.
Do you kind of have an idea where I'm going with this?
A little bit.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with this, because in today's society, the fallacies seem to be supported and encouraged in some situations.
Okay.
How do you handle those type of situations?
Yeah. I think we're a school that's navigating a lot. I think, as young men, there's a lot of access on the internet. The boys are on TikTok, they're on Instagram, they're on all these platforms where they're getting a lot of information, and a lot of the information can be inaccurate. A lot of the information can be damaging and hurtful to others. And I think what we want our young boys to understand is that God loves all people. God is in all people, and we should treat every single person with love. And I think if that's the message, and if as an entire school, if every single faculty member is saying the same thing, I think that message will ring across. And like I said, in the last hour, we have a no and zero tolerance policy for bullying. And we want our boys to create their identities in a place where they feel safe. So imagine if I had a son, and I sent my son to Nativity, and I could have sent my son to any other school in the city, and I sent my son to Nativity, and he's dealing with this identity crisis, and at Nativity, a smaller school, the kids were bullying him. That would be more hurtful, I believe, to a kid versus a public school where there's a bunch of kids and they might also have kids that identify with them. So I think it's very important that our school, if anything, is more loving, more caring, and more supportive to every student in their own identity and whatever that they have going on, to make sure that they're ready for whatever's next. I think it would be hurtful for a school like Nativity to hurt kids as they're going through this process before they go to the next spot and they feel even more vulnerable in high school or in college or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
I think he handled that.
I
I think he knocked that out the park. I
Not
really
his
do.
first rodeo, that's for sure.
Apparently it's not. Apparently it's not. And it's important, as you said, the beauty of what I'm hearing is that you allow the young man to be who he is unapologetically within a society that's going to support who he is.
Exactly.
And guide who he is and not cater to any of the nonsense. And let's face it, yes, I get it. Girls can really, especially in that age, can be very damaging.
Exactly.
Because
Distracting.
Exactly.
no, distracting to you because they liked you. Damn it, okay? You were Joe Cool. I was not.
So let me tell a story real quick.
Oh, you got a
We don't
story.
have
He's
to
coming
get
out.
lawyers.
He's
I got a
coming
story,
out.
I got a
His-
story. And it really has to do with what was just said here. So we have a young man who is currently in the school. He's in the 8th grade, and he's one of those young men that, like, very, very bright young boy. He's going to go to one of the top independent schools next year. But he's a young man that had a lot of the other young boys at the school look up to him because of his ability to talk to women.
Okay.
And this young man had a girlfriend last year, I believe. And again, he was a 7th grader last year, currently in 8th grade. And I believe him and the young woman broke up. And he came over to me. Again, I'm going to remind you, this boy is in 7th grade. He came over to me and he said, "Mr. Benjamin, me and my girlfriend just broke up last night. I've never felt so alone." This is a 7th grade young boy who is coming to me and saying him and his girlfriend broke up last night. Mind you, his mom is involved, his dad is involved, and they're very both great, great, great people. And the fact that this young man, who's a very bright young boy, said that he felt alone because a young woman broke up with him, and I know how much that young man has going for himself. The only thing that I could say in that moment to him was, you got to remember who you are and what you're doing and where you're going, and very similar to that point is like, yeah, they can be a little damaging because my man could have fell off the edge right there, and forgetting everything that he's building, everything that he's going for, everything that he's striving for because of something very small, like a 7th grade love, So I think for us, it's important. And I also lead the hiring at our school too. So I hire.
Yeah, we're going to go there.
Yeah.
Okay, because this is important when you have young men that you're training. Hiring the right person is very important. Now, are all the instructors male? Are they female? Or how does that work?
Yes, there's definitely a diverse group of people that work at the school. I would say we're about, I want to say 50-50 split on male and female in administration and faculty. In terms of lead teachers, we have, yes, I would say we're split 50-50. We have 2 women teachers that are lead teachers, and then we have 2 male teachers that are lead teachers. So there's a lot of diversity there for sure, as well as we also have this thing called a Nativity Fellowship. So this is for any undergrads or people that are interested in pursuing education. It's a 2-year commitment to Nativity Prep where you learn how to become a full-time master level teacher. You also get access to Boston College's Lynch School of Education. You get a free master's there. You get access to housing. You get access to a van to transport yourself, as well as a $1,200 stipend for the first year, $1,400 stipend for the second year. So a lot of our fellows, so this year we have 6 fellows this year. 3 of them are 7 fellows. 3 of them are males, 4 of them are women. and one of them is a Nativity alumni as well. Next year, we're hoping to hire another 2 Nativity alumni. So our numbers will continue to grow and continue to be as diverse as possible, for sure.
So in that, how many of how to say this right? People of color.
So I would say in the whole school, it's hard to put a number down because we have some people are part-time workers, some people are full-time workers. I would say somewhere like 40% of people in the school are people of color, maybe 50.
That's important.
It might be split. Our president, our principal is alumni of the school, obviously, so person of color. Our 5th grade teacher, we have 4 fellows that are people of color as well as our whole graduate support department is people of color as well as myself. So there's a lot of diversity in the school. I would say it's about 50-50, but not exactly sure on the number.
But that's what. But the fact that it's that high, is good, because I came through school not seeing people like me in positions, or the principal, who was a person of color at my high school, was also cool, and I wasn't.
Gotcha.
So he was down with the jocks. He was down with the, and not Dan. No, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
So I think it's important. So you handle. Oh my goodness, it's interesting because what I'm hearing is that you're providing a well-rounded environment.
Yep.
One that can certainly support the issues. Now, again, because this is Sound Travels and it falls to me to be the jerk.
Yes,
so
do it.
I'm going to be the jerk. Instructors and mentors.
Yep.
How do you keep that kosher?
Yeah. So
You got the question, right?
yeah, I got you.
Okay.
I got you. So there's a couple of ways. So we really empower the boys to be mentors and brothers for each other. So for example, 5th graders and 8th graders they have buddies. So they'll mentor each other every single week on a weekly basis. And then myself, I have a group of kids that I meet with every single Wednesday. And we call that advisory lunch. And so I have a group of 3 to 4 kids that I'll meet with and I'll speak with. Currently, right now, we're watching the Vinicius Jr. documentary. I don't know if you guys know who Vinicius Jr. is. He's a soccer player for Real Madrid, and he was really, really famous in the news a couple of years ago because of some of the racism stuff that he was going through while playing soccer in Spain. So the documentary details and talks a lot about some of the things that he's gone through and some of the activism that he's been a part of in Spain in terms of, racism in soccer and stuff like that. So me and the boys will watch about 15 to 20 minutes of the documentary each Wednesday, and we'll discuss what we saw in the doc. We'll discuss what things that we would do or how we would approach situations similar to this. It's so my goal for us in that space is really all about identity and formation building. I want the boys to understand that, hey, look at this mega millionaire star who even though he gets paid $40 million a year, he still faces racism on a day-to-day basis. So imagine little old you coming from small nativity going to this great big school, wherever that's next. What do you think is going to happen to you? And let's make sure we're ready, make sure we're prepared, and ready to face whatever's next. And I think the second part of your question, I'm not sure if I understand it correctly, completely, was a lot about mentorship and keeping the line between personal and...
You understood it completely.
Okay.
You got it.
So I'm not going to say I don't struggle because I was a student at the school, and
this is a difficult one.
You hurt for some of the kids because you see their home lives, you see some of the situations that they're going through, and what I try to do is be a mentor in my own way. So, like for example, we'll set goals. So, so for example, I have a young boy who, you know, his grades are not the greatest, but he always gives effort, and he'll go out and find, you know, people to help tutor him and help support him, and he'll find his classmates that are smart. He'll hang around them. Like, he's really good about doing the right things, but some things just don't click for him. So one of the goals that we had was that I wanted him to try to get all B's and A's this semester. And he's never had all B's and A's. He's had some C's, some D's, and stuff like that. And the goal that and one of the things that we said is the kid, he really loves Beyblades. I don't know if you guys know what Beyblades are.
No, I have no clue.
So there's like these toys where like you rip them and then like they face each other in this like arena type thing.
Okay.
And then those crash against each other.
Rock'em sock'em robots.
Basically.
All right.
Basically.
Cool.
And he loves these things, and to the point where he'll find broken pieces of the Beyblades on the street, and he'll put them together and make completely new Beyblades.
I like it.
That's how like
I saw-
technical this kid is.
Yeah, that sounds like somebody I recognize.
Exactly. So academically on paper he might not be the brightest, but mentally his brain is working at a different capacity. So I told him like, hey, let's try to get all A's and B's, and I'm gonna get you a couple Beyblades.
There you go. Motivation.
And you know, and another thing too is I made sure I communicated with his mother. And so one day mom didn't just come home and kid had a couple Beyblades sitting at home, and she's like, hey, where did you get these from?
Right.
So I think those are very important to me, is communication with the parents, establishing that relationship with the parent first, and understanding that, hey, I think a lot of the parents understand the love I have for the kids and understand the impact that I want to have on the kids, but I also have to tell the parents that too. You know, intentions and being straight up are two different things.
Right.
My intentions could be good, but the parent can be like, I don't want you doing this with my son.
Right.
So having that relationship with the parent first, so the parent understands your intentions and understands what you're trying to do first, and then after that, allowing things to kind of play as they will.
I think, go ahead, Bishop.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Being that you're dealing primarily with boys of color.
Yes, sir.
at a-
Oh, yeah. Come
at an
on. I know the question.
impressionable age,
Yes.
what are they learning about police interaction?
Yeah. So I think
If
for,
at all.
Yeah, no, I think for me, so we do have not security, but like police that'll hang out sometimes right outside the school, just for protection and stuff like that. And I think one of the things that we teach the boys is openness. So just trying to be as open as possible. If you're not doing anything wrong, there's nothing to be afraid of, you know? And I think that's kind of what I try to teach the boys as much as possible. I've had my run-ins with the police. I believe we've all had. And I think in the situations that have gone the greatest for me is trying to be as open as possible. So I think what I try to tell the boys is when you're interacting with authority, any authority, is one, be respectful. Like, try to be as respectful as possible. And then I think, as well as, we always teach the boys to look people in the eyes. So never to lose that eye contact, to make sure that you know that I'm speaking to you, I'm looking at you. And then, as well as, I think we also want our boys to be men of integrity off top.
Yes.
So if you are a young man of integrity and you already know that your intentions are right, again, you should have nothing to hide. There should be nothing to be afraid of if you're doing the right things. So I think that's really what we teach the boys, and really what we try to instill in the boys. Especially if you're doing the right thing, the police should be your friend. Should be is the key word.
Right. And we've all had situations when we're driving while black, when
Yep.
we're talking while black,
Yep.
when we're walking while black, when we're just in a place where blacks are not necessarily known
Exactly.
or at least understood to be there.
Yeah.
And we're not, so many times I'm someplace where what's he doing here? And I'm not carrying a mop, so
Yeah.
they don't have an answer.
Exactly.
So those type of things. But again, knowing who you are and what you're about solves a lot of those issues.
Exactly. Last week, I'm standing in front of my building with one of my, I live in Brighton now. I'm sitting in front of my building with one of my best friends, and a woman, she's driving into our parking garage. And as she's driving into the parking garage, she pulls her window down and she says, "Hey, do you live here?" And I look at her and I said, "Do you live here?" And then she said to me, "Well, I'm pulling up the garage." And I said, "Why would a random person just be hanging out in front of a building? Like why
Yeah,
this, and mind you, our area isn't like a traveling area. It's on top of a hill.
I know
and,
Brighton.
You know,
Yeah.
so there's nobody's just hanging around in Brighton.
Right.
And then she asked me, what floor do you live on? I said, what floor do you live on?
Exactly.
And you know, it's just
He's one of you. He's one of you, Bishop.
like though I'm not I know who I am.
Right.
I know what I've done to get to the places that I am. I've put myself in.
Mm-hmm.
And for another person to look at me and question me and who I am,
In other
that
words,
is
show me your papers.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let me see your ID.
So I want my boys to have that same confidence in who they are and what they've done to get to the places that they're going next. So if I can instill that in them now, that's the smallest thing that I can do.
That's not the smallest thing. That's a very important
one.
thing.
Appreciate it.
Because there are times when I have found myself in situations where if I didn't know who I was in trouble.
Yep.
Okay, and those type of situations, like, you know, who are you? What are you doing here? And what those I have a ball with those type of questions because I'm not. I wasn't always saved, and there are times when you were being polite, and I would be as polite, but as wise behindy as possible.
Exactly.
Because I don't tolerate those type of questions well. Okay.
Great.
I get where you are trying to protect, and I understand that, but excuse me, sir. I don't recognize you. Is there a reason? Or, you know, I don't recognize you, so I'm concerned as to who you are.
Exactly.
I don't have a problem with that.
Exactly.
Okay.
But to ask somebody, do you live here?
Yeah.
Is a very, very different question.
It's a huge question on so many levels. It's not because the question has got nothing to do where you live.
Yep.
The question has everything to do with why are you in a space where I don't think you belong?
Exactly.
And who are you to tell me where I belong?
Exactly.
Okay.
So if I didn't stand up for myself in that moment, how could I tell the boys to stand up? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So,
And how to stand up properly.
exactly.
See, how to stand up. Because the answer is, you know, and I've had these situations where someone is unhappy with their life. I think the last real crucial one I had, the person was clearly unhappy with their life. They're in a position of minor, and I mean minor, authority. But they didn't expect to be in this part of their life. So here's this other guy who has maybe 2 more brain cells than them and is able to talk a circle around them.
Yep.
But they're in a position of power and they're not having it. And I'm like, no, here's the thing. First of all, you're talking to the wrong person.
Exactly.
You're talking to the wrong person because there are times when the mirror works.
Yeah.
Okay, you water doo-doo, you eat doo-doo. So don't come at me the wrong way without, and it's difficult because as a pastor, as a born-again Christian, I am supposed to be humble, meek, and mild. Well, yeah, I can be all of that, but nowhere in that description is it doormat,
Yes. Yeah.
rug, or victim. I'm not required to be your victim or to be your one-up that day because you couldn't have any kind of life with who you wanted and now you're taking it out on anybody else. No, I'm not required to be your depository of negativity. So it's a fine line.
Definitely.
So how do you teach that?
Yeah. So I think I want our boys to always be respectful. I want them to always be respectful and understanding.
I just keep going.
I want our boys to be respectful and understanding as possible, especially to other people. And so I think understanding that, yes, some people are going to try you. Yes, people are going to come at you some type of way, in a certain type of way. And the importance is the way you respond and how you respond to people. I think it's always important. disrespect is going to come at you. Disrespect is going to come. But I think the way you respond to people is always very important. Like in my situation, and that I just told the story on, if I would have came at that woman a certain way, if I would have spoke to her a certain way, it could have been worse for me.
It can escalate.
Exactly.
It could certainly escalate.
Exactly. So for me in that situation, my whole response was to let her know that, one, I did live there, but two, I'm not going to handle disrespect. So going forward, she knows not to try myself. So I think that the things that we want to teach the young men is that, yes, disrespect is going to happen. People are going to come at you a certain way. When you're in high school, people are going to want to touch your curls and your hair and this and that. There's a way to respond that is right. There's a way to respond that is wrong. But let's choose to respond in a way that protects ourselves, And I think as black men, at the end of the day, that there's a lot of stereotypes out there about us, and avoiding those stereotypes while also keeping our respect is very, very important.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I do believe that part of that is knowing what your rights are.
Exactly.
When you don't know what your rights are, people can step on your rights,
test you,
and abuse you, and when you're cognizant of what you're entitled to, not simply a privilege, but what you're entitled to as a human being, and you say, I refuse to let you diminish me as a human being, because you feel a certain way. Because you see the melanin in my skin. Don't take for granted that I'm going to accept your disrespect.
Exactly.
And also, don't immediately ascribe my mental capacity to your particular fear or your particular prejudice. I may, in fact, be smarter than you. It's possible. Okay? It's possible.
On a few occasions, that's been the case.
Yeah. Where I'm actually smarter than you, and I'm not threatened by you being dumber than me. Why are you threatened by me being smarter than you?
Exactly.
It is what it is. We are who we are.
Yeah.
So don't go looking to immediately put me in a category that I'm supposed to be in. Now, we talked about that from external forces. How do we handle it within our own culture? Because Nativity is clearly a driven school, and you got all these mini alphas running around. Here you go. How do you handle that? Because I have noticed that some of the biggest detriments in my life, some of the biggest opposition in my life, have been people who look exactly like me.
I think we have a lot of alumni that work at Nativity. And so our principals and alumni, I'm an alumni, our director of graduate support is an alumni. We have 2 alumni teachers. So there's a lot of alumni at the school. And so there's obviously a brotherhood there. Off the top. So there's a lot of mutual respect there. There's a lot of love there because we've already been through the same things. We've seen the same things, and we've kind of navigated our own journeys. And it's funny that our journeys have all led us right back to Nativity. So I think internally there's a lot of base level love and support for each other because of the things that we've experienced together here at the school. And now we get to help the next generation of young men and young boys go off and take off to whatever they want. And then as alumni, we also get together and gather. So for example, we have an alumni Christmas party on a year basis where we invite all Nativity alumni across all years to come together, fellowship with each other, love on one another, let each other know what each other is doing and things like that, to just glow and bask in Black excellence and just push each other to continue to push forward. So all those things are very important for us, for sure.
So Eric says, I think we need to teach our young men what true disrespect is first, because today's youth throw that word around like a winter snowstorm. Everything is disrespect. When you're being corrected, when you're being challenged, when you're even asked the question, if the question isn't asked with the proper respect. So how do you teach what real disrespect is and what Hollywood disrespect is?
Yeah, I mean, I think like I think that's a good question, because even yesterday, like you'll correct the boys, and then the boys will be like, "Ooh," like like you said, like I disrespect. No, I'm just telling you what you did was wrong. So I think in those moments, I'll go back and check in with the boy again after, like, hey, that wasn't for a show. That wasn't to make it a big deal on you or to rag on you. The whole point was to end that behavior there, and I think that's kind of how I deal with it, is constantly checking in with the boys after a situation I might have handled personally, or maybe somebody else handled the situation and I see the boy later and I'm like, I'll just check in and I'll be like, hey, she wasn't being disrespectful to you. She was just checking you, or she was just trying to check that behavior, or she was just trying to make sure that you weren't going to continue doing that to the next place. So I think that is so. I don't know where we would teach disrespect other than that, to be honest with you. But that's a good point.
Deborah Connor says, "Good morning to all of you. God bless you, guys, for the wise opinions of you all. Good conversation." And she says her name, and so people are listening.
Oh,
and
I
watching.
appreciate that. Thank you so much.
And I think you've done. Oh, there's a scene in Godfather 1 before Finucci gets killed where he tells Michael, "You've done well for yourself here today." You didn't see the movie?
No, I didn't. I haven't seen Godfather 1. It's on my list. Godfather is on my list, I promise.
The whole series, but you don't have to see 3. But
Okay.
the whole series.
It's on my list.
Yeah.
I just finished Sopranos 2 months ago.
Okay. The Sopranos are kind of the modern day version.
Yeah.
But The Godfather is better because the acting is
It's incredible.
Okay.
way
I'll
incredible.
put it on my list, fellas.
The
I got
writing
you.
was quite good, and there's wisdom in what's being said.
Okay. All
The
right.
Sopranos, not so much. Sopranos is more Sopranos is more of a stereotype
I gotcha.
in terms of how it was done. But The Godfather, it was just a masterpiece.
Okay. I'll
But
definitely have to check it out
The
then.
idea that Michael standing up to Finucci gives him respect in Finucci's eyes.
Okay.
You have done very well for yourself
I
today here,
appreciate that,
young
my
man.
brother.
Vito.
Yeah,
Vito.
Vito, yes.
I appreciate that
Yes,
as well.
yes, a young Vito Corleone, yes. And I think that you should try to be back or at least call in once in a while just to check up with us.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
Because I think you did quite well. I
appreciate
we
that.
let you kind of go on a little bit because you're not used to the sound bite.
But it was necessary.
It was
'cause,
necessary,
You
yeah.
know, the information that was disseminated today was just incredible.
I appreciate that.
What you're doing at the school is
Needed.
I think
Needed.
beyond the need. I mean, when we look at young men of color who are just lost, with no direction, with no hope for a future, and this school is a beacon of light.
Yeah.
You know,
I appreciate that.
Take a minute and talk and we've been very good about being not political or not this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
But talk about the family structure. You mentioned that the family structure is very important, and in today's the landscape of today's family.
Yeah. So to be honest with you, a lot of our
Lie to me,
boys,
like everybody else.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna tell you the truth. A lot of our boys are coming from single parent households, whether that's only mom or only dad or only grandma or whatever the situation might be. That's just the reality of the situation, especially when you're coming from low income or under resourced backgrounds, especially to live in a city like Boston, which is very, very expensive. To have only one income in the home is definitely a significant hindrance to any family. So to live in the city of Boston and have one income, I can't imagine. So Nativity is really just another resource for those types of families, as well as one of the things that we really want to get back to doing is home visits, because we really don't know what's going on in the homes of some of our kids, and we have more resources that we can provide. But until our families let us know what they need, there's nothing we can do. And I think that's another thing that's holding back our people, is that we don't ask for help. We don't ask. We don't say that we're in need. We don't tell people that we're in need, and we just suffer in silence. And I think we need to change that as a people, as a unit, especially for our kids. If our kids and their education are on the line, we need to tell people we're struggling. We have things that we need support with and we need help with. So those are just very, very just real things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. We have kids that, they're tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, they might not be with their moms anymore, or they're with grandma, or whatever the case is, because CPS says so, or whatever the case may be. So we are dealing with a lot, and let's not even talk about the current political climate. A lot of our families are immigrants, and or their parents are immigrants, or whatever the case may be. And so the real life fear on some of the kids and their families, that any day now their families might get taken away from them, So there are so many things that our young men are navigating on a day-to-day basis. So if we can just be a little love for our kids while they're at school, that's what school's supposed to be.
That's what it's such an amazing thing. I shudder to think what would have become of me if I had actually had a situation like yours while growing up. Whether I would be Dr. No, or whether I would be the president of the world right now. I mean, it's amazing it sounds to me like you're doing the best you can with what you've got, with an understanding of what is truly out there.
Exactly.
And who can ask for more than that?
Yeah, we just want to set our boys up for success and whatever they want. And I think some of the things that we've discussed in our most recent board meeting it is talking about opening up some of the college stuff so it's not just so college focused, because our young men have different paths and different journeys. So we talked about the car workshop thing. So one of the things we talked about is a fund so where kids can apply to get a trade school, or to get if they want to be an entrepreneur and start a company and stuff like that. So working with our board to get funding for things like that for our young man to pursue other avenues that are not just college focused.
I think that's amazing. Go ahead.
What is tuition like for the school?
Free.
Say that again.
Free.
Free as
Free.
in
Free.
Free as in free.
I should have started off with that. Yeah,
no cost.
The school is tuition free. Only expectation is a $250 activity fee, which supports our schools, like our sports and activities. But tuition is $0. So
for those of you out there who were thinking that this was not going to be, this was setting you up for some. Go ahead.
So I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
That's asked quite often. When a kid is expelled out of your school, why doesn't the funds go with the kid? So 9 out of 10, that child may end up in public school, but the funds remain at your school.
What do you mean the funds? Like,
so the schools get paid for each, funds come in for each kid.
Yeah. So our school isn't run like that. So basically, our school is a cost per student. So for example, we have 64 kids right now. So our cost per student is about $43,000. We have sponsors and benefactors that support each student. So like, for example, let's say my brother right here, he wants to sponsor a nativity student. He will pay our school $43,000 to cover the tuition for that kid for that year. And then the next year, again, we'll reach out to him. Hey brother, the boy is ready for the 7th grade. Are you still wanting to be a part of his education? He'll send another check for the $43,000 again. We also have a sponsorship lunch as well, so the kids get to meet these benefactors in person and get to have lunch and interact with these business people, so they get exposure to people who are working in the real world as well.
Thank you.
I mean, it's just, I'm sitting here humbled. I really am sitting here humble. I feel like I'm in the presence of greatness.
Don't say that.
No, it's okay to give flowers while you can smell them.
I appreciate that.
And it's okay to say the things that other people, because just the idea, we're not told this in the world. We're told that, we have no value. But you're telling me that a person who probably never has met the student is paying $43,000 for this person to grow.
100%.
It tells me that we're being lied to about how about who we are as a people.
No, it's happening.
I'm feeling like Nativity Preparatory School is the Black Wall Street of education.
I'm hoping so. That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to build here.
Right. And the reality of it is you're building it. So I personally will tell you, and you and I have talked about some side projects that we're going to be doing.
Definitely.
We have 3 minutes. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Let me give each person a minute. Go.
Yeah. So
and I mean 60 seconds.
I got you. If you have a son, a brother, a cousin, a nephew, anywhere, and they live in the city of Boston, and they're in the 4th or the 5th grade, and they have not applied to Nativity Prep, you need to be asking them why. There are no reasons why. There are no excuses. They need to be applying to Nativity Prep. Again, if you have a son, if you have a nephew, if you have a cousin, you have a brother, and they're in the 4th and the 5th grade, and they're not applying to Nativity Prep, you need to be asking them why. Thank you.
Bishop. I know.
This has just been incredible. Just to know that this school is in the city, and the benefits that are there are insurmountable. You can't put a price tag on it. If you're concerned about your child's education, you need to be calling
Nativity
Prep.
Amen.
Go ahead. You.
So I think one reason why some of the parents don't apply to Nativity Prep is because of transportation,
Yeah.
especially if they're a single household.
Definitely. No, and I get that. So just reach out to me.
See, that's what I wanted to hear.
Mm-hmm.
You have not because you ask not.
Yeah.
And if I don't know what your situation is, how am I going to deal with it?
Exactly.
So it's not the money anymore. It's clearly not the money. It's all the motivation. Yeah. I am Pastor Dan. This has been one of the best shows that we've had for the year. I don't know where we go from here. We can only get better, but boy, has the bar been raised.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Luke Benjamin. Oh, my
Thank you
goodness.
for
They
having
should
me.
have you on a national tour. You should be speaking everywhere where there's a stage or a microphone.
Thank you for having me, brothers.
I am Pastor Dan Walker. This is Sound Travels. Tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Keep going, or we're done.